Hey boys, what's up? This is Mikey MMA. This is gonna be a shorter video just because I got a midterm tomorrow. I've kind of been studying all week. Sorry, this is a little late, but what can you do? I'll be locked in next week for sure. So, anyways, here are my picks and predictions for UFC 312 Duplessis versus Strickland. First fight on the card is Hyun Sung Park versus Niamjargul Tumendembril. So I'm pretty high on Hyun Sung Park, and I'm not high on Niam. So I think this is pretty straightforward. Hyun Sung Park is gonna win this by decision. I think it's a 75% likelihood this guy wins. He's a minus 280 favorite, so the odds seem to agree. I think this is gonna be a decently fun fight. A lot of good scrambles, and I think Hyun Sung's just gonna kind of outmatch him pretty much everywhere the fight goes. Niam Jargul is not the most technical fighter, so I think Hyun-Sung Park is just going to be the better mixed martial artist and win by a unanimous decision. Next, we have Quillan Salkild versus Anshul Jubli. So this one, Quillan Salkild is a pretty big favorite. He's minus 410. I think there's a bit of value on Jubli, actually, just because he's such a big underdog. But I think that Salkild is just going to be a better fighter pretty much everywhere the fight goes again. I think he's going to eventually knock him out via ground and pound in the late second, early third round. And I'm not super excited for this fight. I have it as a 5 out of 10. It's not going to be the best fight on the card, but, should be decently fun. Now, on to the next one. Fight number 3 is Kevin Jousset versus Jonathan Micallef. So I think this fight is closer than the odds have it. But I do think Kevin Jousset will win. I think there's probably around a 50% likelihood, 55% likelihood this guy takes the win this fight. I think Jousset's gonna want to keep this fight on the feet, and Micallef is gonna want to take him down. Jousset's a better striker than Micallef, and I think he's gonna be able to keep it on the feet as well because he does have a judo background. And I think he's just gonna be able to stuff all of the takedowns and win by decision. Fight number 4 is Cody Steele versus Rong Zhu. So this fight I'm super excited for, and I'm very confident that Cody Steele is going to win by TKO. He's a really good fighter, super high on the guy. I had him pretty high up on my prospects list that I made earlier this week. I think he's better than Zhu pretty much everywhere, and I think that he's going to threaten the takedowns, which is going to get him to be able to be more open with his combinations on the feet. And I think he's going to get him out of there with a body shot in the second round. So yeah, Cody Steele is my pick for this fight. Now we have Alexandre Topuria versus Colby Thickness. This is my first big underdog pick. I think Colby Thickness is going to take this. He has a much better experience level, I would say, than Topuria. He's fought much better competition, and he's fought much more actively as well. Topuria's pretty inactive in his fighting. So I just think Colby's kind of trending upwards, while Topuria's just kind of letting his own career be on the back burner and letting his brother's career kind of take precedence. Yeah, this is going to be a good fight, though. I have it as an 8 out of 10. Ilya's going to be in Alexandra Topuria's corner, and Alexander Volkanovski is going to be in Thickness's corner. So it's going to kind of be like a pre-game of sorts to their rematch. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, and Colby Thickness is my pick by decision. My next one is Kong Wang versus Bruna Brazil. I have Bruna Brazil by decision. I think she's going to win a split decision. Super close fight. I just think Kong Wang is not the best fighter, not the most complete fighter. She transitioned to MMA pretty late on in her career after a really good career as a kickboxer. And I think Bruna Brazil's with a really good team with the Fighting Nerds, and I think they're just going to give her a good game plan to win this fight. So yeah, I think Bruna Brazil is going to win this one. Now Tom Nolan versus Vyacheslav Borshev. I think Borshev's going to win this. Nolan just doesn't have a chin. Yeah, he should be a welterweight. He shouldn't be fighting in this division, I don't think. I think the weight cut kind of drains his ability to take shots. He's gotten rocked against fucking Victor Martinez, which is a really bad look. Alex Reyes kind of had him in some shaky positions in their fight. And although Borshev's pretty old and he's not the best fighter himself, I think that his striking is definitely good enough to be able to take this fight and kind of be an outmatch for Nolan on the feet. And I'm not sure Nolan can wrestle him because he hasn't shown that in his UFC career. So yeah, I do think Vyacheslav Borshev is going to be the winner of this fight by TKO. Next we have Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. I think that Jenkins will win this by leg kick TKO. I think that Jenkins is a far better striker than Santos. Santos is going to give him some trouble in round 1, but he tends to gas out, and I think that will happen in this fight as well. And I think that's just going to lead to him getting pieced up in rounds 2 and 3, and eventually Jenkins is just going to hit him with some really good leg kicks and get him out of there in round 3. I'm pretty excited for this fight. I have it at a 6 out of 10. I think it's going to be a good one. I think we're going to get a nice TKO in it. And yeah, I think Jenkins is going to look good and kind of elevate himself to that like top 20 spot in the division. Fight number 9. This is the first fight of the main card. Not the best look, to be honest, that this is on the main card, but you know, there's some like tax law going on. I'll get to it at the end of the video, kind of explaining why this isn't the best card. But Francisco Prado is my pick by split decision. I see this as a 55% likelihood of happening, of him winning, not by being by split decision. I think Prado will outstrike Matthews in round 1 and round 2, and then I think he's going to gas out in round 3. But I think it's going to be a pretty clear 29-28. However, I think because this is in Australia, I think one judge will give Matthews the fight. I have this as an excitement rating of 6 out of 10. You know, Prado always puts on bangers, and I think Jake Matthews is going to be a good dance partner for this one. So, yeah. Fight number 10 is Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. I have Rodolfo Bellato by round 1 KO. 60% likelihood of Bellato winning. I just think Crute is pretty washed up, and he kind of sucks. And Bellato's not the best fighter himself, but I do think he will be able to knock him out in this fight. And I have this one as a 7 out of 10 as an excitement rating, just because I think it's going to be fun. I think we're going to get an early knockout. And I think these guys are just going to throw haymakers until this fight ends. And I think that Bellato will come out on top. Fight number 11. This is the featured bout. Talishin Teixeira versus Justin Tafa. I think Talishin Teixeira will win this one by decision. Not by TKO, not by submission. I do think this will go all 3 rounds. I think he will avoid Tafa's power in the first round and then just kind of keep him at a jab and take him down and win a pretty boring decision. I think heavyweight's kind of going to shit. I think it's one of the worst divisions in the UFC along with women's bantamweight. And yeah, I think this is going to be another example of a boring heavyweight fight. And I do think Talishin Teixeira will win, but I'm not super confident on it. I would avoid betting on this one, to be honest. It's a pretty shitty featured bout. One of the worst of all time, I think. One of the worst I've seen, at least. So yeah, that is our featured bout for the fight, and now we're going to get on to the title fights next. Alright, so our first title fight of the night is Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. So this is a super close fight on the odds. And I think it's a super close fight in general. I think Tatiana Suarez, though, is the pick. 55% likelihood I have her winning, and I think she will win by submission. My prediction, I just have Suarez do. You know, this woman has had the worst luck in her career overall. And I think she just deserves this belt. You know, she's one of the best fighters in the strawweight division. She's been one of the best fighters in the strawweight division pretty much her entire career. She's a super talented wrestler, one of the best in the female side of the UFC ever, I would say. Super, super talented. On the other side, Zhang Weili is a very good all-around mixed martial artist, good wrestling, good striking. But one place where she lacks is takedown defense. And Suarez has some of the best takedowns in the UFC, as I just said. So I think she's just going to be able to take her down a bunch. And I think eventually she's going to find a rear naked choke on the ground in the second or third round. I'm very excited for this fight. I think these are two of the best female fighters in the world right now. And this one's going to be a banger. You know, I definitely think you need to tune in for this fight and the main event, which we're going to get to right now. So fight number 13, the main event, is Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. My pick here is Dricus du Plessis by round 4 TKO. I think there's a 75% chance this guy wins. I think it's around 50-50 between TKO and decision. I don't think he's going to get a submission here. I think du Plessis is going to implement the takedowns better in this fight, be more active in the striking in the first fight. And I think because of the takedown, Strickland's going to kind of open up. And I think eventually du Plessis is just going to kind of outland him and TKO him in a similar way that he did Robert Whittaker, kind of with the body shot and then go up top and knock him out. I'm super excited for this fight. I have it at a 10 out of 10. This one's going to be a banger as long as it lasts. Strickland's fighting style matches up super well with Dricus's because Strickland kind of just meets the other fighter in the middle and kind of just takes what they give. And Dricus is just going to rush forward and Sean's just going to fight back as well as he can. So I think this one's going to be a banger, man. I think it's going to be super fun. And I think that Dricus is the better fighter. And I think this fight's going to be more clear than their first fight. I think there's going to be a hell of a lot less controversy in this one. I think Dricus is going to beat him pretty clearly, whether it is a decision or a TKO. And yeah, I'm super confident in this one. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, which leads me to my bets for the week. So, I'm not a financial advisor, you know. Don't take what I do. Don't get mad at me if I get some bets wrong. But yeah, here are the bets that I have for this week. Dricus du Plessis money line minus 210. Rodolfo Bellato money line minus 140. Cody Steele money line minus 240. And then my underdogs for the week are Jack Jenkins and Francisco Prado at plus 190 and plus 180 respectively. So yeah, those are my bets for the week. I kind of went over why I thought they would win earlier in the video. So if you want some more explanation, just kind of rewind it. So I'm just going to kind of talk about the card for a bit before I end the video. The reason why this card is shit is because Australia taxes the hell out of international fighters. So nobody wants to be on this card. That's why it's mostly just Australian regional talent. I think this card will be fun. It's going to kind of be like the Brazil card, UFC 301. Insofar as it's not super stacked. But I think we're going to get a lot of finishes, a lot of pretty decent fights. And I do think that if you tune in from the prelims, from the early prelims, I think you're going to have a good watch. I don't think this is like a waste of a Saturday if you want to spend your time watching the UFC. So yeah, I wish everyone the best of luck on their bets for this card. I hope your favorite fighters win, unless they're fighting against my favorite fighters. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Have an excellent day. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to studying for my midterm now, but I'll catch you boys after the weekend. Peace.